To be honest, I think that Tripp was so desperate, he would have chosen just about anybody to be the one guy that wasn't recognized as Mr. Stank Butt. Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel and to this new series where I am dissecting TLC's Love and Translation, a multicultural dating show where no one speaks the same language yet everyone is hoping to find love. At the end of the last video, I briefly mentioned that the women that hadn't been chosen for the previous solo dates were just sitting around at the house commiserating, and one of those people was Lady from Colombia.
Con la persona que me gustaría salir es con Tripp.
She's disappointed that he did not consider her for that date. So when the house plays the game of spin the bottle and Lady is the one that gets to choose who she wants to do things with, she takes advantage of the situation and asks Tripp to kiss her. Tripp, I think hedging his bets because he just spent the afternoon making out with Giselle, kisses Lady on the cheek. What's weird is immediately after that, Tripp starts going on and on about how interested he is in Lady. At the same time, he's saying that Giselle is picture perfect and she's everything he's wanted in a woman. To me, it's off-putting. Call me crazy, but that kind of multi-directional instant infatuation does not seem normal. Dylan and Sarah have begun to openly flirt with each other by the next morning, yet he still finds time to hang out with Tulay and have lots of extended conversation with her. And then we have our palate cleanser of a couple, Khalil and Heidi. There's not really a lot of interaction recorded of those two in the beginning of this next day, but they do make comments in passing in their individual interviews about how much they like each other and how they would like to go on a date with each other. And right on time, the singles are presented with their next challenge that will eventually lead to their next date. The experiment in this episode is kind of wonky, for lack of a better way of putting it. It starts off by Sangeeta telling the guys to drop down and give her 20 push-ups.
You guys are a little bit sweaty now, aren't you?
It's 20 push-ups. If they're breaking a sweat, I'm a horse. Sangeeta claims that the reason she asked the guys to do the 20 push-ups was to trigger the release of pheromones. Pheromones are chemicals that animals and humans use to communicate. Our bodies release pheromones through sweat, urine, semen, breast milk, and vaginal fluid. The theory is that these substances cause a reaction in the people around us. For example, pheromones might help us attract a mate. Sangeeta then asks all of the women to blindfold themselves. She leads them up to the trio of passport bros so that they can sniff them up and down. Each woman has a bracelet with their name on it on their wrist. They put that bracelet on the wrist of the man that they are more attracted to by scent. What it's supposed to do is give everybody food for thought in terms of who they would like to connect with more on their next date. I hate to burst everybody's bubble so soon, but I have a really big problem with this experiment. I am not at all convinced that 3 men that look like G.I. Joe characters can do 30 to 45 seconds of push-ups and then produce enough sweat to fill up the place with pheromones. And apart from that, they've got a good breeze blowing outside. You really want me to believe that all of these women are going to be able to smell all 3 of these men in such a time-efficient manner that all of them are going to get the same experience even while they are drying because of the wind and still be able to identify everyone's scent? I call BS. Tripp is going into this feeling good. He's a nutritionist and a personal trainer. He claims that he knows all of the things that you should be consuming in order to help you smell good. So tell me why all of the women hate the way that this man smells.
Oh, no.
You need to wear some deodorant.
Talk about being taken down a couple of pegs. You can kind of see the angst building in Tripp as each woman goes and selects the person that they find most attractive by scent. Everybody is loving the way that Dylan smells. Out of the 12 women, 9 of them put their bracelet on Dylan's arm. 2 of them put their bracelet on Khalil's arm. And then there was one. Lady is the very last person to go and sniff the men. And guess who she chooses as her person? Blindfolded. It's a bit too fantastical to believe, but yes, Lady chooses Tripp. And guess who acts like it's a sign from the gods?
Lady recognizes something about my scent.
Tripp takes on this air of, oh, I would have thought that Giselle would have identified my pheromones and my scent because I thought that we had such strong chemistry. Now that she hasn't, I think I really need to mull some things over. To be honest, I think that Tripp was so desperate, he would have chosen just about anybody with the same level of enthusiasm just to be the one guy that wasn't recognized as Mr. Stank Butt. Like, I'm sorry, that's how I feel. After all of the women have the chance to smell the men, the tables get turned. Dylan and Khalil, because they had more than one person choose them, get blindfolded, and now they are tasked with smelling all of the women that they collected bracelets for to determine whose scent is most attractive to them. I've been in Tulai's corner this entire time, but homegirl really tried to give herself an advantage by fluffing her hair in Dylan's blindfolded face. It was cringe, but I also feel kind of bad for her. I can't imagine what it feels like to be the first one chosen to start their connection with somebody and then feel like at any moment one of 11 other women could take that connection away from you. So I get where she's coming from, and I honestly think that any of the women would have done the same or would have done something extra. You know what I mean? Dylan ends up picking Sarah as the person whose scent is most attractive to him, even though he was trying to find Tulai in all of those women. Khalil surprisingly chooses Jennifer again.
No! God, please, no!
I'm really relieved that he wasn't swayed by that choice and he's still interested in pursuing Heidi because they're better, okay? The way that the producers handled this experiment really undermined the credibility of anything that they were trying to do. Number one, it was really clear that there weren't any control variables. As the episode moves on, people are talking about how they did shower, how they didn't shower, how they wore perfume, whether or not they wore deodorant. That would cover up your natural smell anyway, so I get why Khalil said,
I don't even know what I'm smelling.
Secondly, the experiment completely ignores scent perception based on somebody's culture. What might be unpleasant in one area could be neutral or even positive in a different country or culture. Last but not least, our knowledge of how pheromones work in humans is extremely limited right now. Experts don't even agree on whether humans produce pheromones. Some scientists say we don't make them. Others say human pheromones do exist, but they haven't been identified. This faulty experiment is going to then affect everybody's supposed attraction to each other and potentially dictate the decisions that people make moving forward. I don't think that that is quite right. If they had really wanted to give this experiment a fighting chance, they could have done it so differently. One of the things that they could have done is told the contestants the night before, hey, we've got something special or interesting planned for you all tomorrow. The challenge begins now. Don't take a shower, don't put on lotions, creams, perfumes, deodorants, colognes, nothing, and we'll see you tomorrow. It would have raised the ick factor, but it would have also been a bit more entertaining for everybody to watch. All of the men have until that evening to choose their date for the next excursion tomorrow. Tripp's choice is super obvious. He beelines it to Lady. Y'all, it's so cringe. I do not like this man.
Como de la playa? Sí.
No te entiendo.
If there is one thing I absolutely hate as a fluent Spanish-speaking American, it is when other Americans try and speak Spanish with no knowledge of the language and making absolute fools of themselves, but then still thinking we're the same and we're on the same level. It drives me up a wall, but we'll talk about that in just a little bit. Tripp takes Lady from the villa down to the beach where they're watching an evening sunset so that he can ask her on the date tomorrow.
Love, ocean,
Sí.
sand, love,
Mira.
beach.
I don't know why these women like him. I don't get it. I do not understand. I will say that Lady does a great job with body language and trying to get Tripp to understand her at first.
¿Tú sientes lo mismo que yo? ¿Me entiendes? Como mariposas en el estómago.
She is way too intense with the questions. And at the same time, she gives off the same energy that Tripp gives off when he's interacting with women. Both of them consider themselves to be hopeless romantics. Maybe it could work. I don't know, but yeah, I guess we'll see. I want to talk about what's happening verbally between Tripp and Lady. Tripp's attempt to speak Spanish highlights an issue that's really pervasive, especially in the United States. Americans tend to assume that limited communication skills in other languages, even if it's just 10 words, is enough to constitute actual conversation. We've got this Spanglish mindset here in the United States where it doesn't really matter how you pronounce the words as long as you think you say them. Everybody has to understand what you're saying because Spanish isn't that hard. And thirdly, it doesn't matter how much of another language we learn, it's everybody else's responsibility to learn English. I can acknowledge that if this is your first time coming to our channel, this might sound like projection. As a professional, as somebody who learned the language, as somebody who has almost exclusively dated Latin American men, this is something that happens all the time. And that mindset is a problem, especially if you're trying to build a romantic connection. Tripp already has enough of a difficult time trying to connect with people through things other than words. And so I think that this Spanglish mentality is going to create this false sense of understanding between him and Lady because he knows ABC 1, 2, 3 Spanish. Lady is charming though, I'll give her that. Then it's Dylan's turn to ask out the person that he wants to take on a date. He chooses Sara. Sara says yes.
Okay.
I am not at all surprised. They have great chemistry together. Tulay is frustrated, but she understands that Dylan wants to have the opportunity to connect with the other people in the house. It's still too soon to say that they're anything official, but having such a strong connection with Dylan from the beginning makes Tulay feel like, well, if he's going to be exploring other connections, maybe I need to do the same thing with the other men. And then finally, Khalil and Airi. I wish I had another word for them other than cute, but that is exactly what they are. Watching them interact with each other made me smile so much. They're so cute. It was also satisfying to see Khalil finally get back the effort that he has been putting out, as well as fascinating to see how well they understood each other.
Tomorrow, your day?
やった 本当に
Date?
やった
Nice.
Nice.
Khalil asks Airi on the date for tomorrow around the same time that Lady, Jem, and Jennifer are sitting on the patio outside and they see the two of them. Now all of a sudden, Miss I don't want him any way you can throw him back is all types of upset and jealous.
I'm going to join the fight. I want him.
Something about that feels really icky to me. I don't like it. It's not genuine. It's classic I want what I had previously but didn't appreciate now that somebody else is showing interest in it, or in this case Khalil. Very fake, very immature, very insecure energy here. So there you have it, episode 3 of Love in Translation. They've left us on a cliffhanger. So until next Wednesday, let me know what your thoughts are on this particular episode. Am I being a little extra with this pheromone experiment? I don't think I am. But if you disagree with what I'm saying, let me know down in the comments. What are some assumptions people have made about the language or languages you speak based on the little bit that they might have known? Until next time, remember, as we always say on our channel, that with God, all things are possible, and I will see you next week. Y'all are gonna have to forgive the messiness of my kitchen right now because I'm cooking, but I am in the middle of watching episode 4 and I cannot stand how cute Khalil and Airi are. I really hope neither of them screw this up because they get along. Oh, this is wonderful. Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm just real excited.